Here's a story for all the aspiring writers out there. I sometimes see this as a cautionary tale, maybe a warning. Let me set the scene for you. My writing exploits throughout, well, since I started, were always in staggered bursts. Now, during my mid-20s, during the bachelor pad days, I hit one of those bursts. Just prior to that, I ran into a stretch of time where my romantic relationships were, what should I say about them? They sucked. So I said, no more, no more. I would go to work, do my job, talk to customers, chat with my coworkers periodically, but I'd go straight home and sequester myself in my room, which was kind of hard to do because I lived in a bachelor pad, but I made it work. Stayed there for a couple of months, got a lot of writing done. Now, during the upcoming spring, I rediscovered my social life, and writing went bye-bye. Thus, the end of another writing burst. What can you do? Mid-20s. So anyway, I did exit that stretch with some interesting short stories or some small pieces that I needed to know that they would actually do well or be received well. Now, I had roommates. Now, it helped that a couple of them loved to read and were very accommodating with my request. One of my roommates, let's just say that he acted as if me asking him to read something was equivalent to taking one of those hand crank drills and asking him to perform dental surgery on himself. So I dismissed him and took advantage of the offerings of the other two. Now, during one of those critique sessions, I mentioned to my roommate that I was having problems finding anybody who wanted to read my stories from outside of this house. And he made an interesting comment. He goes, there's going to be some people who don't want anything to do with what you're doing until you're successful. Now, I didn't like the sound of that, but I had to think about it for a bit. He was actually probably right. Whether we like it or not, that's really how things work. During my time as a youth counselor, I had a teenage girl confide in me that there's this one guy in the group that she really, really, really liked. And he apparently said to her at some point, you know, if you lose a bunch of weight, you'll be beautiful. Dude! But I can't get too mad at him. He was kind of right. But still. So I had to be blunt with the girl and say, hey, he is not going to want anything to do with you until you reach a certain conclusion that matches his expectations. I don't think I said it that philosophically, but the point was made. Now, just so you know, it works the other way around too. After class one night, I was talking to this young girl, and she was telling me about the reason she signed up for this particular class was pretty much the same reason I did. We wanted to achieve a certain level in our careers, and this was going to help both of us. It was a math class. And she told me of all her goals And then it was my turn. I told her what I had planned. And she seemed pretty impressed with what I was saying, which I wish I could remember what it was. But she made a comment to me, say, you are going to be incredibly popular and incredibly desirable once you reach your goals. Well, I mean, if I had been on the singles market back then, I would have said, okay, well, I'm not asking you out because you've already decided I'm not there yet. Now, in those two examples I just shared, plus the one about my writing exploits, plus any other million of other examples I could give, the message is still very, very clear. People are waiting for you at the finish line. If you make it there and in first place and they like what they see, that's what they're looking for. Is that cool? It happens. Deal with it. But I gave it some thought, and I decided that life is not a linear start to finish race where everybody starts at the same time. First one to the finish line wins. I saw life more as a road rally. For the uninitiated, road rallies are timed events. Each driver or team starts at a certain time, and subsequent contestants start at staggered intervals, and they cross the finish line. When they do, their times are tabulated, and the team, driver, vehicle with the lowest elapsed time is considered the winner of the rally. So according to this analogy, people are going to be crossing the finish line at all kinds of different times. Now, as an aspiring writer, it's up to you whether that type of selection process is acceptable to you. I personally can't see me turning down fandom of someone who says, oh, I like you because you sell better than that other author. That's a weird way of choosing someone that you follow, but whatever works. And like I said, I'm not in the market to turn down fans. But since I already evoked the romantic relationship aspect of life, just keep in mind, while you're sitting at the finish line calculating everybody's time, okay, he did okay, not as good as the guy before, oh, that's a good time, I like him, or I like her, or whatever the case may be. The person you decided to choose may have already chosen somebody else, or they've already found someone for themselves during the drive.